So I am about to start a project, and this project is about making my house smart. And I plan to do it from scratch. Now, before I proceed, I need to let you guys know that this series of videos is going to be unscripted. Well, it's not like any of my previous videos were scripted before, though, but this is going to be more unscripted. So I really don't want to focus on camera angle, lighting, this and that. I want to focus on the outcome of this whole thing. So the idea of home automation or smart home is not new. It has been on the market for a very long time actually. So if you have money, if you can afford it, you can actually buy some gadgets, some smart plugs, some smart fans, some smart lamp, put them up in your house, and then you have a smart home. Or you can actually build a smart home from the ground up, by making it part of the entire architectural process. You understand? That's the way people do it most times, right? But I want to do this from scratch myself, meaning that I'm not going to be buying smart plugs. I won't be buying smart door locks. I won't be buying smart fan, right? I want to take the things I already have in the house and make them smart. And it's going to be a very interesting project. Now, I've done something like this, something similar like this about 2 years ago. I built an home automation system. I call this Unify. And it's I had this 7-inch touchscreen display and a smartphone application I built that allows me to control my home appliances from anywhere in the world. And it was really cool. And that was a long time ago. So I'm hoping to actually use the knowledge I learned from doing that project and use that knowledge as a base to what I want to do right now. So the idea is that I want to take you guys through the process, and if you follow well, if you have a bit of engineering background, you can actually replicate what I'm going to do in this series and do it in your house also. So this project needs a name, right? So I decided to call it, this is going to sound weird, but I decided to call this Sha-De. Sha-De. So Sha-De stands for Smart Home Assistant and Digital Ecosystem. So I know a lot of you be like, it should be called Sha-De, or sorry, it should be called Shade or Shades, right? But I decided to call it Sha-De because it sounds more interesting as Sha-De. And so imagine something like, Sha-De, turn on my TV please. Sha-De, turn on the lights please. Sha-De, set the fan to speed 11. Or Sha-De, turn on my smart TV and go to Netflix and play me my favorite movie. It sounds cool, right? Just like you have Siri or you have Alexa, now you have Sha-De, Smart Home Assistant and Digital Ecosystem. So it's called a digital ecosystem because majorly I'm going to have almost everything in my house connected together, talking to each other, right? My fan, my TV, my light bulb, my curtain, my cooker, everything is going to be connected, sharing the sources and information, and then making decisions on my behalf, right? So it's not just an home automation system, it's a smart home assistant, right? So it's going to have some AI features that I intend to include. So that's what really makes it stand out from Unify. It's going to have some AI features. So imagine something like whenever I manually switch on Netflix on my TV, right? And then I play a horror movie on Netflix, and then the Sha-De can sense that I'm watching a horror movie and then immediately turn off the lights and then set the mode for horror movie, something like that. I'm going to call it scene. So there'll be several scenes that Sha-De can actually set depending on whatever is happening in the house. So I'm also going to have like cameras attached to Sha-De. So Sha-De can do things like facial recognition, emotion recognition, and stuff like that to make some decision. Of course, these are features that will come towards the end of the project. For now, I want to focus on the simple features like interconnecting my home appliances, my wall socket, my fan, and then controlling them from a single interface. That's what I want to start from. And I really, there's a lot of features that I can think of right now, but we'll take it small. We'll take it like little and make it a gradual process, right? So yeah, I want to share the whole experience with you guys, and I want to be figuring things along the line. It's not like I have this whole thing figured out. I just know it is possible. That's all. I don't even have enough money to even implement the whole idea I have in my head right now, but as time goes on, we will keep improving this thing, and then hopefully it turns out to be something very great. It turns out to be something very nice, right? So here's the plan. Actually, this is the plan. At the center of my house, I'm going to have a computer. Basically, it's going to be running a Linux operating system, and then this is going to be the brain of the entire home automation system, or the brain of the entire assistants, right? Okay, so this is going to be connected to my home network, which is basically my router, either via wired connection or Wi-Fi. Then I'm going to have what I call client devices. The client devices are things like my TV, my fan, my lamp holders. Now all these guys will be connected wirelessly to the router also via Wi-Fi. Now, because they are connected to the router, it means that they're also connected to this computer, like a local area network kind of thing, right? And this also includes things like my curtain, my door, my smart lock on my door, even my cooker. Basically anything that can be connected via Wi-Fi. Of course, I'm going to have to do some modifications to these devices for it to work, right? I have a smart TV, so I think this shouldn't be a problem. For the fan, for the lamp holders, I can easily hook up some kind of chip into them that has Wi-Fi enabled, and then connect that to the router, and then from the router to the Linux machine here. Now, the thing is, this machine here has to be a very, very, very powerful computer because it's going to be running some AI algorithm that does some decision to either turn on my TV, open my curtain, unlock my door, and stuff like that, right? But because I really don't have billions and millions of naira to spend right now on a very expensive GPU, blah blah blah, stuff like that, I want to start with something very, very simple, right? At least for the first features we'll be working on for this home automation system, we know very simple features that even a Raspberry Pi can handle. So I can actually make this a Raspberry Pi for a start, or it could just be my regular laptop, right? But I need this to be a standalone system on its own, right? It's going to be permanently fixed somewhere in my house, right? So I have all this connected to the same network as this machine, and this machine, Linux machine, can control these devices, right? Now, this guy is going to be accessible via an IP address, right? And with this IP address, I can load a web page on either my phone or my laptop, and from this web page, I can monitor these devices, right? So if I want to do something like manual control, probably turn on my TV, there can be a button here to turn on my TV, there can be a button here to turn on room 1, to turn on room 1 lights, there can be a button here to unlock my door, can be a button here to do whatever kind of thing. There can be buttons, several buttons to switch different scenes. So here we have a web browser that gives us access to the IP address through the IP address of this guy, and now this guy is connected to the same network where my TV is connected to, my lamp holder is connected to, my cooker is connected to, my fan is connected to, all connected in the same network, and they are all controllable from this interface that can be loaded on my phone or a laptop. Now, this guy would also be connected to the internet, obviously, because the router is going to provide internet to all these devices, right? And because it's connected to the internet, it means I can somehow have access to this interface from anywhere in the world. I don't have to be at home to control my devices or to monitor my devices, right? Good. So this is basically the rough plan. Um, Router that brings everything together through a local area network and also give them internet access. And the Linux machine, which is the brain that makes decision right for me, also gives me control to control my devices digitally. Now, we're going to start with this first. Of course, it's going to become more complex than this, right? I'm not trying to put any AI into this thing for now. What I want to do is just connect all my devices to this machine here and then control these devices from a web browser. That is what we're going to start from. Now, in order to achieve this, the most complex part of this entire system, it's not the Linux machine, it's not the router, it's not the web browser, it's actually connecting these devices to the Wi-Fi network. Right now, like I said, I have a smart TV, and that shouldn't be a problem. The smart TV is already connected to the router already, and I just need to find a way to hack that and make this guy, give this guy access to the TV via the Wi-Fi. Probably switch stations, switch to Netflix, switch to YouTube, and switch to other apps on the TV. Now, for my fans, I'm going to be including a microcontroller in each of my fans, right? The microcontroller will be programmed to communicate to this guy via Wi-Fi. The same thing happens to my lamp holder. I'm going to insert a microcontroller into them, program them. The same thing happens to my smart plug right here, right? So I'm going to create a my wall socket also. I omitted that, so I'm going to have a wall socket also connected to the Wi-Fi also. So for the wall sockets, for the extra device, so these are like regular wall sockets, regular fan, regular lamp holder, right? That would have an attachment attached to them that allows them, controllable via Wi-Fi. Okay, and one more thing I forgot to mention is I'm going to have some sensors in my house. So I'm going to have like a humidity sensor in my house that can sense, the humidity of my house. I'm going to have a temperature sensor. I'm also going to have like a gas sensor. I'm also going to have like some other kind of sensor that can just sense the current state of my house, and all these sensors will be connected to this machine there, and depending on what the sensor sense, the machine can make some decisions. Like for instance, now there's a gas leakage in my house, then this machine can detect that and probably like activate some kind of sprinklers rather, to sprinkle water. Or if the temperature of my room is too hot, the Linux machine can detect that and probably turn on my fan or something. So that's what the plan is. So that's just a simplified version of the plan. Of course, other features will be added eventually. Like I said, I'm going to add cameras to it and some other things eventually in the future. Now, if you want to follow along, all you need to do is just buy the things I buy and do the things I do. I'll try to explain every single thing. I'll try to explain every single thing. It's going to be more like a tutorial, right? I want you guys to follow along, and then most importantly, be able to replicate this thing in your own house if possible. So guys, that is it. I'll see you in the next episode where I explain the technical aspects of this project. I'm going to explain the things I'm going to be using for a start, things like the Raspberry Pi, the microcontroller, and some other things that I'm going to use to make this thing come to life. So I can't wait to see you in that video. Please like this video, subscribe, and most importantly, share this video. Thank you very much.